So, with all the recent news that's been coming out from Paizo, one of the best opportunities to learn some new things is going to be occurring here in just a couple weeks. And they just released what their Twitch schedule is going to be. So, PaizoCon Online 2023 is coming up. And let's go ahead and take a look at their schedule that they released. And I'll mention a few things that I'm going to be keeping in mind and maybe do a couple videos on, especially one, and I'll definitely point that one out. But with that, my name is Don. I'm trying to be the Sly Strategist, and let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and include a link in order to this schedule as well in the comments, just so you don't have to pay attention to me necessarily if you want to do it. And I'm not going to be covering every single event that's going to be going on. Once again, that's included in the schedule, and that's really up for you to decide. But what I really wanted to do is highlight one or two of the really showstopper ones that I really think you should watch, or at least watch some recaps of. I hope to be doing a recap of them myself. And then some of the other highlight ones that I particularly want to look at, not only for myself personally, but also maybe potential future videos. So let's go ahead and start with Friday, May 26th. So on Friday, it's going to start off with a keynote address with publisher Eric Mona. I do suggest possibly watching this. I don't know how much information is going to be there or how information dense it's going to be. It starts at 10 Pacific time, and that would be 1 o'clock Eastern time. For me, it'd be noon in Central time here. It is just something to keep in mind. Plus, it kind of opens it, so it's kind of fun to listen to. The one that I really suggest you watch, or at least once again, watch a recap of, and I hope to be doing a recap of it myself, is the Pathfinder Remastered talk is going to be occurring directly after that keynote. That would be at noon, and that would be 2 o'clock Central time and then 3 o'clock Eastern time. That would be the one that they're going to be talking about all these remastered books. We did get a little bit of information. I did a video on that already, but hopefully we can actually get our teeth into some real information, and it will provide, I think, a lot of good talking points, a lot of answers to your questions, and maybe some of your concerns that you might have about what is actually going to be in it. They talk about news from organized play. The organized play section, be it either one of the societies, I have not particularly participated in. I'm interested in it, but it's not something that I'd be going into. Secrets of the Pact Worlds, I believe that is going to be more lore. Introduction to Foundry, I probably will watch. I do run a Foundry server, and it'd be interesting to see maybe what they're doing with the remaster, or tips or tricks are always great. There's always new modules that you'll be playing a game with someone else on Foundry, and they just have something that you never saw before. Almost every single game that comes up for me. They also will have one for Fantasy Grounds Unity is going to be coming, as well as one for mini painting with WizKids. That could be an interesting one if you are a miniature painter, or if that is one of your hobbies. That would be a great one to see too. That ends at the day at 7 Pacific time, which would be 10 p.m. Eastern time. So just something to keep in mind. Let's go ahead and move on to Saturday. Saturday is going to start with the Pathfinder Nexus Dev update and Q&A. That's going to be at 9 o'clock Pacific data time, or Pacific time. And that would wind up being noon Eastern time. Primal previews, I don't know too much about that, so it's hard to say. Ask the Paizo GMs. That is something I definitely want to listen to. That is going to be occurring from 10 to 12. That would be Pacific. So once again, you do your conversion, add your hours to that. Secrets of Galarion is going to be more lore-oriented, I would think. Pathfinder Adventures, I'm very interested in that to see what might be coming down the pipe as far as that. Infinite possibilities with how to write for Pathfinder Infinite. If you are an independent artist for TTRPGs, writer, like to do modules, that could be interesting if that is what you are really into and what your angle is. I will probably tune into that, although I am not a writer nor a creator in that way at all. Check yourself, self-editing for games writers, sort of along the same lines. That's going to be more geared towards individuals who are into writing TTRPGs. Then there is the other kind of big one that might be interesting is BKOM Studios is going to be revealing the Pathfinder game. I say revealing, they're going to be introducing more information for the Abomination Vaults. I haven't really covered that too much. The video game side of it isn't necessarily my specialty, although I'd be interested to hear what they have to say. And then we are going to end that day with one of the last major VTTs, and that would be Roll20. So that would be a nice full day to go ahead and see what everyone has to say. And then let's go ahead and move on to Sunday. So Sunday, start once again at 9 o'clock at Pacific time, and then that would basically start at noon on the East Coast. It would be Pathfinder and Starfinder digital map tools with Fantasy Grounds Unity. So once again, if that is your particular VTT of choice, that might be a good one to go ahead and watch. There's also another little section from the Whiz Kids. Remember, on Friday, they did the figure painting. So this would be something specific for them. I have no idea what that's going to be, but it might be interesting based on what I saw on Friday. There is a build and adventure workshop after that, as well as Into the Darklands. I'm assuming is going to be more lore. The one I'm really interested in is Starfinder Nuts and Bolts. I really haven't gotten into Starfinder that much. It is more similar to 1E or maybe 1.5E from what I've heard, but I like the setting for it. So it might be something I watch and to see if I really want to go that route or possibly move to a different TTRPG for more of a sci-fi fantasy feel. I'm not quite sure yet. Then mysteries and RPGs and how to bring that into your particular sessions is what I'm assuming, and that is one I definitely am going to be watching, as well as another kind of must-see, and that would be Ask the Paizo GMs to close out the actual Twitch stream schedule. That is going to be at 3 o'clock Pacific time. So that would make it 6 o'clock Eastern time. And that one, you actually will be about an hour where people can just do Q&As with the Paizo GMs. And I figured that one is going to be a very interesting and enlightening conversation. And that is going to close out their Twitch schedule. So as far as this particular Twitch schedule, here are the ones that I'm really looking forward to, and I'm just going to do the ones that I'm looking forward to. That would be the keynote address to open the con. I would just sometimes you can get an idea of their vision of the future of what things are going to be, so it's a good one to watch. The big must-see for me is going to be the Pathfinder Remaster talk directly after that on Friday. Everything else that particular day is more information for me as opposed to anything I could possibly comment on or tell anyone else. But if anything in there, including Foundry and Fantasy Grounds, as well as figure painting, Pathfinder Society, Starfinder Society, or Pact Worlds, which is lore, I do plan on watching some of those, but I don't know if I'll be actually taking notes and making sure I follow every single bit of detail on that. So for Friday, it would be the keynote and Pathfinder Remastered. On Saturday, the ones that I'm really looking forward to are Ask the Paizo GMs, which would be at 11 Pacific time, which would make it 3 Eastern time, as well as the BKOM Studios conversation, which would be at 4 Pacific time, and that would make it 7 Eastern time. That would be another very interesting one to watch. And then Sunday, it would probably be Starfinder Nuts and Bolts, very important to me. I don't know if that'd be important to anybody else. And then Ask the Paizo GMs again to close out the Twitch stream. Well, thank you for watching that. This one was a little bit different for me in that I wasn't necessarily telling you any rules or particularly telling you anything that you couldn't look up probably in a shorter amount of time. The only reason why I decided to do a video on this at all is to highlight which ones I personally feel are important and might tell you a little bit of a direction of where some of my future videos might be going. Not that that's anybody's holding their breath for that necessarily. However, I do feel it is important to keep up with what your TTRPG publisher is doing. As you know, with Wizards of the Coast, some other things, there has been things, which is not something that I'm going to particularly talk about. However, it is good to kind of keep up with your publishers and know what's coming down the pipe. And that way, if you have anything that you could potentially think that you might have an issue with, then maybe it is time to look around and branch out and see what other types of systems you might want to play. So with that, we're going to go ahead and close out this video. I do hope you enjoyed this. Once again, this was a little bit of a departure, but maybe it gave you a little something, or heck, even a little insight into what might be coming onto the channel if that is something you're remotely interested in. But regardless, feel free to like, subscribe, or hit notification if you'd like to see when those things come out. And regardless of whatever you do, I hope you have a great day and happy adventuring. Thanks.